Hey, what's up YouTube? Steve Hortica here, and this video today is going to be using free software that anybody can download on the internet to create professional looking transcriptions. If you've ever really wanted to use music notation software and weren't sure where to start, this is the place to go. As I mentioned, it's all free, and you'll see from the video it's pretty easy to use. I'll be transcribing just a really killing break from a Chris Potter solo that I found on YouTube. This break will also be available as a free download in the link below, and the PDF, if you choose to download it, was created using all free software. So enjoy the video, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and thanks so much for watching. Let's get into it. Alright, so today we're going to be transcribing a segment of a Chris Potter solo using two software programs. One is Transcribe and the other one is called MuseScore. Both of these are free. Transcribe is a trial period for 30 days and then you end up having to buy it, but it's a great piece of software. I highly recommend it. Let's just dive right in. The first thing I do is open up Transcribe, the program, drop it into Transcribe. What's great about this program is you can do both videos and audio. So I'm actually using a video clip, and I just dropped it in here and it'll immediately extract the audio. Let's listen to that really quick. So I want to try and we'll see how much of this we can get. I'm definitely going to get this break, but obviously you need to slow it down. So first thing you do, and this is mostly what I use this for, is just to slow tracks down. One other thing that you can do that I find really useful is you can adjust the pitch of things too. If you go into effects and then transposition, if you go to tuning, you can change the sense of it, but you can also just change half steps, or you can change up to an octave, which is amazing and really helpful if you want to take a song or a track and transpose it into another key. Or if you want to move things up or down an octave, that can be kind of helpful, like if you have like a Barry solo and you want to hear it on the alto, or let's say you want to transcribe a tenor solo but you want to hear what it sounded like on alto, and vice versa. You would move it up or down in fourth or a fifth, just depending on what that is. So let's hear what this line sounds like at half speed. So much more manageable at this speed, obviously. So let's open up MuseScore and we're going to figure out what this line actually looks like written out. The other main purpose of just doing this video is that I want to give you the good shortcuts, or the applicable shortcuts that are going to really help you to get writing right away. So first thing I like to do is just get everything set up and look pretty decent on the page. So I give it a title, Chris Potter Super Break, let's call it that. Composer, this is just going to be, obviously it's his break, but I'm going to write my name as the transcriber, so transcribed by Steve Hortica. Continue, so choose instrument, go to continue, and because we're doing a tenor sax solo, you're going to choose tenor sax, because that way it'll transpose perfectly as you're inputting the notes. So you add that in there. Continue, and then this is important here. What I always do is go atonal or no key signature, because typically when I'm transcribing, the key center is changing a lot. So you're going to have a bunch of accidentals that'll be more confusing with a key signature than without a lot of times. So I usually just go atonal on that, and then we're in 4/4. For now, I'll just keep it at 32 measures. We're not going to use all 32 of those, and you can add and subtract them as you go along. And then everything's set up there. So the first thing I would do is adjust the font, just because I like fancier looking fonts. Avenir Next is a really cool looking font, and just kind of what a lot of people are using now. So I changed that. I'll change it on there too. Avenir Next. Once I do that, the next thing I'm going to want to do is organize the staves. So you just highlight all the staves. What I did was I clicked on the first one and then press Shift and then click on the last stave, and then that highlights all of them. And then you go up to Format and then Add and Remove System Breaks. This will format it so that you have a break every 4 measures. and that's going to look a lot nicer.
One thing I forgot to mention as I was making this is that there's a palettes toolbar that you open, and it's at the top menu. You just click on View, Palettes. There's a lot of really useful things on here, and they're all pretty self-explanatory.
What I usually like to do too is for like a whole chorus of a tune, I try and break it up into 8-bar segments where I will add double bars for every 8 bars. And you can find that under bar lines right there. So if you click on this arrow on the left, it'll toggle down a little menu. And I don't usually do this right up front. I'll just add this as I'm going along, but just showing you that. So you have options here between repeats or final bar line, or repeats for if you have a first or second ending or something like that if you're writing a lead sheet. So let's get started with the break. The main thing that you want to just keep in mind as you're going along is what I like to do is use the step time input. So you just select your note value, and then you can input notes using the keyboard basically. So you don't need any kind of MIDI input. You don't need an actual keyboard. You can use your computer keyboard just by pressing the keys, the note names. So like F, D, E, the notes come up that way. And then you would just change the note value as that goes along. So every once in a while, the only thing that's frustrating about this program to me is that this option will come up where you can input a note with the mouse and it involuntarily comes up. So I always just turn it off, and you can press the letter N to turn that option off. So that way you can get back to highlighting bars and specific notes rather than every time you click the mouse it creates a note. That can be annoying. And that'll randomly turn on, and whenever you see a blue note head, basically that's when you have to go back and turn it off again. I digress. Let's get into the break. So I'm just going to delete all these notes that I just created, and I'm going to get my 16th notes ready because he comes out guns blazing on this one. And let's listen to it. So with Transcribe, what I always do is I'll pick exactly where I want to start transcribing and start it there. So you press spacebar. And I'll just go section at a time. So do do da 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 da. So all of these I'm just pressing letters on the keyboard. So that sounds pretty good. Let me hear it again. So now that I've gotten that much, I'll just readjust my cursor to there. So I'm going to be starting there now. So this is kind of a little bit of a meshed note, but it sounds like he's playing. So here this happened again. So the blue note head came on, so we pressed the letter N to just eliminate that. So we're going to make this a sharp. And you can see I'm changing notes to sharps and flats up here with the mouse again. I think that sounds right. Play that again. So let's move the cursor to the next point that we want to start at. So let's get this part. C, D, A. So this is accidentals are held through the measure. We have our blue friend again, so we're going to get rid of that. We're going to change this to a natural. One thing I remember too is that with the arrow pad, the arrow keys on the keyboard, you have the option to just move up or down in half steps too. And I find this to be definitely much quicker than inputting it with the mouse, and even quicker than sometimes inputting it with the keyboard. And by keyboard, I mean actual MIDI input like a piano keyboard. Because sometimes the keyboard will put in the wrong accidental. So this gives you the option to just fix it almost immediately. Moving on. Move the playback to the next starting point. So So again, I'm inputting all those with just the keyboard. Let's see what this sounds like. So here we have a triplet. That can always be confusing. Different notation programs do different things here. So this one will take the value that you give it. So I'm going to give it an eighth note, and that's going to be 3 notes that appear in that eighth note. In order to make a triplet for that particular area, you take the value of an eighth note and then you press Command 3. And that gives you 3 notes. And that's what I'm going to input here. So so all these, when I have the F natural going to F sharp, I just use the arrows, and that gets me from F natural to F sharp. And then that's going to be F natural. One thing to keep in mind when you make a mistake, Command Z is your best friend. It undoes the mistake. It works that way in a lot of different programs. So here we have. So. Wow, such a cool line. Let's see what else happens at the end of this. Yeah, he just stops right on that, right on the downbeat. So let's make that an eighth note. Even though it's short, I still kind of prefer the way that the eighth note looks. It takes up less space this way. There's our blue note head. So this is a 2-bar break. And I think what I would do for this particular break is try and put this whole thing as one system. So let's go back up to Format, Add, Remove System Breaks, and see how these 2 measures are highlighted. We're going to make this just 2 for that. It just looks nicer on the page, and then we can shift this back, we highlight everything again, and then we'll change this back to 4. Format to 4. And then that fixes us. So we have to get rid of this double bar line. It changed now. Cool. So let's listen to this one more time. We can do playback. And then let's hear Chris play it. So there's kind of your intro to MuseScore. One other thing I think that's worth mentioning is chord inputs. Anytime I'm transcribing anything, I like to put the chords above. So that can just be done by pressing Command K. So I'm going to assume the first chord here is G major. And what I really like about MuseScore is it'll actually play the chord. So let's hear what else Chris plays after this. Man, so good. 3, 1, 2, 3. So that happens on beat 3. So the and of 3 going to beat 4. We're going to need another triplet here. So I usually use Sibelius. This is going to be different than how Sibelius functions, which is why it's worth mentioning again. So we have our blue note, so we're going to press N again, just to get rid of that. Again, you take the value of the full value of the note where the triplet occurs, and then Command 3, and then that gives you your 3 notes that happen within that beat. So there's your first measure. Yeah, alright, I had that wrong. So make that a flat. So here I'm gonna make this a triplet also. I haven't messed around with different ornament figures. Let's try and see if we can do that right now. Yeah, it's right here. This is great. You have the option of writing mordants too for these types of things like there. I could have written it there too. So let's do it for this. And a little longer. So cool. So what the changes sound like they're doing there is it's just going one chord, get rid of that blue note head. The tune is in concert F or G major 7, 2, 5, and then I'm gonna guess it's going either 1 or like 3, 6 or something. Let's just do 1 major 7, 2, 5, 1. So we're gonna go Command K for an A minor 7, and then Command K again for a D7, and Command K again for G major 7. Let's hear what this sounds like from the beginning. The cool thing I like about MuseScore that actually doesn't happen in Sibelius automatically is on playback it plays the chords for you, which I think is really cool. Like I said, I haven't messed around with it too much yet, but for free software I can't really get much better than this. So check it out. Try writing your next transcription on it. It's definitely going to be something that I think is worth doing. It just helps provide clarity and really helps you to see everything notated on the page. Let's hear what this sounds like. That's it. MuseScore, baby.